Motion to open the general government meeting.
Motion.
Who started, sorry?
Second.
And can I get an approval of the general government meeting minutes from October 28th, 2022? Is that right?
Day 25.
Yeah, 25.
Oh, it's supposed to be 25?
I'll make that motion with amended to 2025.
Second.
Public participation,
All in favor for
or
this?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public participation? We have Cole Baker.
I'm just here to talk about the West Adams Street. My in-laws live on that street. They moved in about 3 years ago. And you know that the street is actually not owned by the village. It's owned by, well, it's actually owned by the county currently. Just wondering if anything can be done with that. They understand that the road is it was a result of a buyout. Well, it was a result of a developer not doing their job about 25 years ago. That they were supposed to make the road continue on to Marquette, but that actually has never materialized. And the county eventually took the lead and they own it now. They understand that they can get an HOA, which was recommended, but no one doesn't want an HOA, honestly. And yeah, they just think that something should be done about the road. They end up having to plow it themselves, which is, I feel like, not fair because they do pay taxes. And it's just the right thing to do.
So you're talking about something that happened 20 or 25 years ago,
Correct.
and that piece of property is privately owned, and the people there would like to have more
Well, the
village.
village didn't end up buying the extra 50 feet of land because the developer didn't continue the street, so it just went vacant because the developer left and the county eventually took the land.
So that piece of property, Chris, you and I talked about this, it's privately owned, right?
Yeah, so it's actually considered a driveway. It was never built towards the village road standards. And we've dealt with this probably 10 times over the last 15 years, going all the way back to Bernie Thompson. So that access area is the same as what they did in the two other projects that are just south of there. And those also had problems with, because it's a separate parcel, they got sold for back taxes over and over again. This parcel, 5 years ago, was bought by a church. And then they realized that they bought something that's completely not usable. So they ended up, just stopping to pay the taxes. That allows it to go back on the tax rolls, and then somebody typically picks it up without knowing what it is. So the way we dealt with this with the other two projects was that we talked to those owners, and they agreed to form an HOA, and then the village paid the back taxes to get ownership of the property, and then deeded it over to the HOA for each of those projects. Then that way they own it, they control it, they have to maintain it and take care of it.
So the village is never gonna own it.
No, it would be, again, just a stopgap thing where we would own it just for basically a day or two until we deed it over to the HOA. Again, it's really, again, it's not built to our standards, and so it's really just a driveway. It's not a street, it's not a road, and that's why we've never taken care of it, maintained it, or plowed it.
Why did that kind of thing happen?
It was allowed back when this stuff was developed. Obviously, we figured out that that's not a great way to do it. I think that they set up each of the properties, for half of the duplex, and then they considered the access to those kind of an outlot. So they would make that a separate piece of property, again, that the HOA was supposed to own and maintain and take care of. It's just the way they did things back then. We obviously don't allow that anymore because of the problems we've had with it, but it exists in a couple other places in town as well. On North Spruce Street, there's a lane over there. Same thing, it feeds probably
10 houses?
I don't know, 6 houses, 6, 7 houses, and it's off of Spruce Street, and it's considered a private driveway. We've had to deal with that. You know, same thing, everybody wants the village to take ownership of it so that they don't have to pay for it. And unfortunately, again, it's not built to our standards, so for us to take ownership of it, we would have to go in there and rebuild the road for hundreds of thousands of dollars. In this case, it's not a huge amount, or not a huge piece, but it would still require, you know, some money to be spent on funds, you know, from the village for the 4 homeowners.
It's in the last page of the handout. And Chris, what Chris is saying, you can visibly see it's maybe a third of the size of our road, or, you know, a little, right around half the size of what a street would be. So, I mean, just for that, starters alone, there's no curbs, it's half the size, and even at the end of it, it's kind of split. So I don't know, like, where it technically would end, but you can see the 2 properties to the west actually own a section of the road in front of them too, so.
It's not so much this property, the cost, but if we open up Pandora's box doing it here, we have to do it on North Spruce and all the other properties, and that could become substantial money, because we can't do it just for.
I was gonna say, I had a guy 6 months ago ask about the one over there, and he was confused. I didn't find out all about this, and that was the problem, was it was gonna cost so much. Was that, but it's the same idea. So if we do that, they're gonna definitely be back in here and be like, well, you better do that, because it's about the same size as this one, to be like, well, what the heck?
Well, 2 years ago, we were approached by Stonegate, same thing, their roads
yeah.
needed to be repaved, and they're private roads, again, they're not, it's a PUD, so they're not built to our standards. They didn't have the $700,000 to repave their roads, because they didn't charge enough in fees. So they reached out to the village and said, hey, will you take over our roads? Obviously, we didn't want to do that. But yeah, there's probably 4 or 5 places in town that if we make this move, they're gonna be knocking on our door.
You got the Enclave,
The
there's 2
Enclave,
roads in
obviously.
Enclave.
Yeah.
The mobile home parks, they could say, hey, we're done taking care of these roads. It just can escalate from there, but yeah.
What's unique about this thing is it's right by a commercial district. They have several people, golf carts, ATVs, lawnmowers that's right over that go down that street. There are many cars that go in there to a UE because they realize it's not a road. So I mean, I feel like it's like kind of a unique situation. It's right kitty corner police station, and there's just a lot of people that use that road. So I feel like maybe the village should look at this uniquely from the other roads.
Legally, I don't think we can do that, right?
Again, right now, it's private property, and it's technically in limbo. Nobody owns it because again, it's up for sale for property taxes. You know, there's been multiple owners in these units, and it seems like every time someone new moves in, this is, you know, they knock on our door and go, hey, you gotta take care of our road, and it's not a road. But we have reached out multiple times to all 4 owners, and they just refuse to form an HOA because they don't want to spend the money, and I understand that, but if we decide to start taking care of a private driveway, like I said, it's gonna be a huge problem for the village. You know, the easiest solution is what I said we did for the other 2. They've got to form an HOA. If the village agrees to spend the $800 on the back taxes, we can deed it over to them, and then they have to take care of it. But again, it involves them spending money, but I don't think it's, again, gonna be a huge amount for each of the 4 homeowners. You know, if we give them ownership of it, then they just have to maintain it.
Other issue I see with this is that you continue West Adams, took that private drive out, continue West Adams at the same width, it almost be right on the doorstep of the house on the south side of it.
Yep,
And there would be no driveway.
right.
I mean, all they're really asking for, honestly, is someone just to shovel it. I mean, just push like a truck, shovel it to the end of the street. I mean, I don't know.
Snow removal.
We deal with,
Yeah.
I deal with
They're
this,
asking
this
for,
specific
honestly.
thing all the time with associations, that the roads are part of the association, then the bills start getting too much because they gotta maintain them, we gotta salt them, and it starts becoming crazy money for these homeowner associations. At the end of the day, I mean, the village has been pretty staunch on, listen, that's your property, you need to maintain it, we're not taking it on. I mean, something for this, for a plow, I mean, who maintains these properties now?
I guess the residents, I mean, right now, the residents shovel it and they take care of it.
So have the residents ever looked into hiring somebody in town to, I mean, 4 driveways in a street like that, snow removal is not gonna be crazy money. I mean, to plow that street, literally, you're probably talking $40-50. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that would be one thing I will look into is maybe instead of each resident paying for, get a price from somebody and see what the cost would be. But we run into this, every village is running into these same problems like this.
Do we want to send the 4 owners a letter offering to pay the back taxes and get ownership of it, to give it to them, provided they create an HOA? I mean, we can reach out to, again, I'm sure there's new owners since the last time we did this, so we can always try that again if the village is willing to pay the 800 and some bucks for the back taxes.
How is that gonna stop?
We've done that in the past. Well, at least, then, like the other 2 buildings and properties on South Marquette, we've done that.
Yeah, there's 2 other projects that were developed the same way with
Yeah,
a
same way.
common road that was a separate parcel. And somebody bought it for back taxes and then actually put up a barricade and said, you can't use the road anymore, I own it. And then we determined there's legal jargon on the plat that says you cannot block ingress egress, especially for like emergency vehicles. So we were able to determine that he can't put a barricade up. And that's when we started the process of, like I said, meeting with all the owners, giving them the opportunity to form an HOA, which they did, and then the village agreed to pay the back taxes to get ownership of it, and then we deeded it to them.
Well, I guess that could open the door for us to be requested to do other spots, I guess. I don't know. I mean, yeah,
I
it's,
know that thing on Spruce over there, that's 25 years.
So,
That guy on the corner there technically owns that road that goes into the place. And he parks a trailer right there in the boat, right in front of the city. So, I mean, I just think that at that point, if you're gonna do something like that, well, then the homeowners have to be paying responsibility for the road. We're gonna pay $800, then you sign off with the road.
right, and we would not take ownership of it and pay the back taxes until they've formed the HOA, and we have proof of that. If the village wants to do that, we can go down that road like we did for the other 2 projects and see if they're willing now to form that HOA.
I think the issue is, again, a lot of these people, when they bought the house, they didn't know the road was,
Right. Well, but
private.
there is a sign right.
which I know, no, I know.
It says-
They're thrown off because, again, they
Private
pay the
drive.
village taxes, and they're like, well, wait a minute.
People
no.
don't pay attention to their easements and their plat of surveys
Correct.
either when they buy stuff. I mean,
Correct.
the problem that I see with us paying the $800 is, fine, these homeowners agree to form an association. One unit owner sells their unit next year, and they decide they don't want to pay. Homeowner associations have very limited strength if they don't have finances to take the other members to court. And, I mean, it's unfortunate, but this is just a bad situation that I'm afraid that if we do any of it, we're stepping into a hornet's nest.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, the other 2 have worked out so far, but there were, I think there was one homeowner in each of those 2 other HOAs that got formed that refused to be part of it.
Right.
So
It
what,
does happen.
what are the expenses of belonging to a homeowners association? Is it just snow removal?
Whatever the homeowners association determines, because all of a sudden this becomes a homeowners association. There's the road repair, so if all of a sudden the road starts crumbling and they need to resurface it, there's insurance in case someone slips and falls. There's a lot of expenses there that those homeowners probably, not all of them are gonna wanna pay.
if they want
Because
to.
they'll have the tax bill each year, they'll have insurance because it's private property, the maintenance of resurfacing the road, plowing the road.
Yeah, if they want to go landscape, they
Problem
can
we
go.
run into by us. I bought that place, I was told it was homeowners. All of a sudden, where's the homeowners?
Yep.
Exactly, we're dealing with that on that pond, right?
You know, I mean, and that was told from, oh yeah, you need to sign this, sign this, sign this, sign this, sign this, you can't do what you want to the homeowners association. And all of a sudden, there's no homeowners association.
Right, yep.
So, I mean, unfortunately, with a small road like that, I think it would be best, because I've seen it done. Each homeowner goes together and whatever it costs to plow the street.
Yep,
If it's $200 a year, I mean, this isn't a big road.
right,
As long as everybody chips in their money and go.
I agree.
I mean, I just don't think you're gonna open up Pandora's box, and that guy in the corner, who's everything else, start doing that.
Yep.
That's what happened to them. I think their road is starting to sink. And then it's not about the snow plowing, it's how do we afford, with 4 houses or whatever there is, how do we pay for a repair of a road? They're like, we don't have that money,
And
so.
the guy ripped up that and put gravel there to
Correct.
park his boat there.
Correct.
Yeah,
So it looks like you have 3 options. Do nothing and keep struggling like you are now, or form a homeowners association, which will cost some money, but it'll take care of things. And that's probably the wisest one to do.
correct.
Or just get together with the other neighbors and pitch in and pay for the snow removal whenever you need to do it.
I'm sure you could find, if you want on Facebook, somebody from town could plow that street for $40, $50. You know what I'm saying? If you're not in a hurry to do that, I mean, I'm sure that's something you could drop a plow over there. What is that road?
Yeah, it's probably, 2 swipes.
Yeah, 2 swipes on the plow and you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in theory, what would happen if someone else bought the property, like someone that they don't know? Because that has happened in the past, as you said with the church.
Somebody else buys it, they could say, well, you're not using the road no more.
But illegally, they can't. So that's, like I said, we did determine that based on the language on the plat, legally, they cannot block people off from using that road. That's why it's been probably bought and sold 10 times, because a lot of these places will buy parcels for back taxes, not knowing even what it is. It happens all the time.
Tax write-off or something.
Yeah,
Same thing in that pond behind us.
right,
So we have rules in place now that this will never happen again, right?
correct, yep.
There will never be another instance where a construction company will come and do something like that and cause
Yeah,
these problems.
We don't allow the access roads to be outlots anymore.
It pays to have a lawyer sometimes at a closing, because sometimes they'll catch that at a closing, possibly like easements and right-of-ways, and, you'll see like, maybe on this plat of survey, it might say private road right in front of the plat, and that'll be a dead giveaway going, okay, well, this is private road, who owns it then, so it helps.
We have one at the end of Lakeview Drive, too.
Yes, that's private
Correct,
road.
yeah.
I wonder if we should almost, because it does happen with new owners, could we mark that out? I don't know what we can share as a village though, too. Because like we said, we're always gonna run into these, because we're not going to take these over.
We can't protect everyone from everything. Think
No,
about when
I
you
know,
bought-
I know,
When
I
you bought
know.
your house, you didn't go to the village website and look at the plat.
Correct, absolutely not, of course not. Then school, you know what I mean? Like, I realized where the property ended, but I don't know. I just feel like this is now 2 instances within a year, where we've had 2 of these instances of that. I just hate to not have them. I mean, I get, they have to be informed on their own too, to a point, but this has happened now twice. Correct, well, that's an issue too, yeah.
Lost all faith.
Yeah,
I would think that's something that has to be disclosed.
Well, again, I can write them a letter and just state that, the village board discussed this at their meeting. The outcome was that their recommendation is that you form an HOA, and because it's private property, take that over, it's access to your properties, and you need to maintain it, and just suggest that they do that.
But even like HOA, even if they started the tax for $300, say plowing's $500. That's $1,500 for $400.
Right,
That's $400.
yeah.
I hate to say it sucks, but I mean, at the end of the day, at least you own the
Right.
road and you shovel.
Yep,
I think we should send the letter.
okay. Yep, we'll just give them recommendation that they need to take care of it. Here's a
Cole, thank
couple
you for
ways to
coming
do
in
it.
and talking about that.
Thanks, Cole. Next on the agenda, the Public Works buildings on South Oak and the vacant property on South Main.
So we did get the appraisals back on both of those, the buildings and the property on South Main, or South Oak Street, though, that came in at $170,000, and the vacant property on South Main came in at $70,000. The 2 buildings, we built the new building over there at Public Works. The idea was to get everything in one location, which we've done, so the buildings are not in the best of shape. We did just receive a $360 gas bill for one of the buildings, so, I would like to see us get rid of them just because we have no need for them and they're going to need some maintenance if we're gonna keep them. We can definitely shut the utilities off, I think, at this point, but there's water in one of the buildings, so we gotta make sure that that gets drained properly so we don't damage the pipes. The other property is where we dump brush, and we talked about maybe relocating that in order to sell that property. That one's gonna be a little more difficult to get rid of. There's a communications tower on that property, so we'll have to create ingress egress route that whoever buys it and develops it will not be able to block that off so that the cell tower people can get in there and do maintenance on it. No, we sold those.
The two pictures of the two areas are in the handout, the second and third last page there.
So we sold them, I don't remember exactly who we sold them to. Originally, I think it was a lease with Verizon, and then I think a year or two into the lease, there's people who go around and just buy cell towers, and so they made an offer and we sold it.
No.
We just have to allow egress to get to it, yeah. I can reach out to them. They've never indicated that they were, but,
I think if
I
we,
don't see why I don't know why they would want to buy it. It's not like
Yeah.
multiple cell towers on the same piece of property.
yeah, I don't know how close they can be to each other to not create interference for one or the other, but. No, I don't remember what the lease got sold for.
We don't need them. I don't see why we wouldn't put them up for sale and see what offers we get.
Don't you think land's valuable?
Say again?
I didn't hear. I'm sorry. Oh, boy, I don't know if I have that number right off the top of my head there.
I might have it.
tell you.
I can get that.
One's
Give me,
about 1,500 square, another one's about 25.
25 and 1,500, that sounds pretty close, I would imagine, right? Well, I can get that real quick.
So what about if we just tore the buildings down and kept the land? I don't know, might somewhere down the road use it for something, huh?
Yes. Yeah, and there's a little triangle that jets to the east, so it's that 409 building and then the little Quonset to the south of it.
So the one building is 60 by, roughly 60 by 60, looks like.
Sounds right.
And the Quonset is 60 by 30. That's
Yep.
This, the appraisal says there's a total of 3,645 square feet of total building area. Didn't break it down into the two.
Would it make some sense to market them together? Because the vacant property has limited appeal. And maybe we get someone that would buy both.
So there's two ways we can sell them. We can put them out for bids, which Joe Kankar would write all that up and put that together for us, and then we advertise it and give a certain amount of time to accept bids on it. Or if we sell them outright, we have to, the least amount we could take for them is 80% of the appraised value.
Has anybody come forward and shown any interest in these yet? In these properties?
Had some people on the
Yeah, a couple
For-
years ago, we had somebody that was interested in the,
garage building.
yeah, not the Quonset hut, but the other building, but they're on the same parcel. it just seems like there's always somebody looking for storage buildings, but, you know, again, we'd have to get, if we do it by bid, we can take any price. If we do it as a sale, it has to be within 80% of the appraised value.
If we do it by bid, we're not obligated to accept that.
Correct, yeah, we don't have to take the lowest bid, it's just, it's a blind bid, and once you get them, you open them and decide whether the village wants to sell them for that or not.
How many parcels are we looking at here? Because I see the yellow lines.
Just the one that has the odd triangle going to the east with the two buildings on it.
409 is,
409
Yeah.
All right.
on the building.
That parking lot is all there on the property.
I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's off the GIS, so
It's not.
it's,
Yeah, the parking actually belongs to Werner Automotive.
yeah. He did say he was interested a few years ago, but I think he's downsizing, looking to retire soon, so I don't know if he's gonna be,
You know, it's possible maybe that trucking company
yeah,
that's
because that would square off their
adjacent to
lot.
it, they might be interested. I don't know, they might be able to use the buildings, but
Michael Nelson, that trucking company.
I think it's a landscaper to put their, you know, just that kind of a shell garage type thing.
it's a dead-end street, right? I mean, that goes off to a dead-end street, so it's not like, again,
yeah, I mean, fortunately, if it were used for something other than just storage, there is parking across the street that's village parking, so they can use that. Because otherwise, there's really not a lot of land to put anything on there.
If we were to, if we did decide to sell it, is there any stipulations that we could put in there that they would have to make some repairs to these buildings? I might kind of eyesore.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the property maintenance codes would kick in, you know, and whatever they do with them, yeah.
Whoever's buying it is where that
Right.
village is gonna require them. Not that that would be a surprise to them.
Right.
Isn't that kind of tucked away, that it's not very visible unless you drive right onto the property?
Nobody really goes, I mean,
Even
Yeah,
Steel buildings
The Quonset is a, yeah, it's a, yep, both, that's a, more of a pole barn look, correct, yeah, both steel.
pretty rough because we haven't.
I think 155
is that right? That says 2022. Is that the old one that we were looking at, the appraisal? Isn't it, did you just say 170 for that one?
yeah, 170 for that one, but I think he's saying 80% of that would be what we could take.
Oh, gotcha,
as a
gotcha,
low
gotcha,
offer.
gotcha.
So,
Well, I don't think it hurts anything for us to put them both out to bid, just see what sort of interest we get.
And then we can decide too, like you said, if we don't want to, or we feel like it's too low.
I'd like to package them together just because that vacant lot down at the end of Main Street.
Say both, but you're saying one property, or one
We're selling two, so there's one at the end of Main, and then there's one on, what's that, Oak Street?
So Joel, we could set up the bid for an either or and together, and then that
Okay.
way give them the
That's smart,
option
yeah.
of doing one, the other, or both.
Yep, that's fine. I mean, because
Plus, it
if,
would put it back on the tax rolls.
that's what I
so-
was just gonna say,
Yeah.
if it becomes not village property and becomes privately owned, it goes back on tax rolls for us, so.
So that would help.
And we said we can find a brush area out by you guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
put it by the north side of Legacy or good spot.
I think I'll get a hold of Joe and have him put together a bid package, and then we'll put it out there for bids and see what we get. Because like I said, if we decide we don't get a decent enough bid, we can always decline all of those and then put it up for sale and try it that way too, so we're not under a timeline here, so. Yeah, we can put a minimum amount on it.
So looking into the future, you don't see any possible reason we would ever want to have these properties?
I can't think of anything we would use. But since we just
Storage.
put in all new facilities, you know, Village Hall still has room for growth, PD has room for growth, and so does Public Works. So I can't imagine what we would use it for.
Anything else, anybody? like to discuss at this time? Thanks, Chris. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn the general government portion of the meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I make a motion for the approval of public works meeting minutes from October 28th, 2025.
I'll motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And no public participation. Items up for discussion. The first item is Main Street ADA Park. Would you like to talk about that?
I think we talked about it before. They wanted to have handicap parking. I don't know that you were at the last meeting that we talked a little bit about it, but wanted to do it when the village engineer was here as to what we could do for changing of the parking down Main Street, because the concern is that they don't have enough handicap parking across
Especially
the
when it
street.
snows.
So,
Do you have any thoughts or ideas on that?
Yeah, so I took a look. One thing I just kind of want to make throw a few notes out from when we did redo Main Street a few years ago. And the biggest focus was to improve the ADA facilities getting into the buildings. So we widened that parkway. We widened the sidewalk in order to reduce many steps that were getting into buildings. So we focused a lot on that. And then when we got to the street portion, we got rid of the angled parking that used to be there. We put in parallel parking. The thought being, again, don't add on additional costs, don't go further to the east and have to dive into that parking. So just kind of going back to the project, the main focus was the sidewalk, the pedestrian accessibility, getting people into the buildings, getting ADA accessible people into the buildings, which we were able to achieve up and down the street. So I did take a look after a couple of people reached out to me to look into potential ways to make ADA parking on the parallel spots, parking spots on Main Street. The main issue is if you put a parallel parking ADA compliant stall, it has to be 13-foot wide. So on Main Street currently they're 9.5 foot wide, which is fine for a standard parking stall, standard parallel parking stall. Once you have to widen it by over 3.5 feet, now you have to make decisions on what that's going to come from. So currently on Main Street, we have the two drive lanes that are both 12-foot wide, which are ideal for a road like Main Street. I wouldn't want to narrow them similar to what, First Street or Second Street are. Those are more narrow drive lanes. You could potentially cut into the decorative pavement that was just poured as part of the project a few years ago, and so kind of make like a jut-in almost to create that extra 3.5 feet that we need. Or, if you really want to make all of them, ADA accessible, you could widen the whole road, but then you have to start diving in. And I haven't looked into the parking on the east side of the road to find out whether that would still be compliant or whether that drive lane would still be wide enough if we were to get that far in. I did talk to Trustee Barry yesterday, and we discussed what if instead of trying anything on Main Street, just because it didn't seem all that feasible or all that cost efficient, potentially maybe the side roads, maybe, putting some ADA stalls on First Street or Second Street. So I did kind of take a look this morning before I popped in here. So feasibility-wise, width-wise, and also I believe what I was told was that closest to the physical therapy, I think Athletico or something, that seems to be the area where people are hoping the most to have some ADA compliant stalls close to the building. So there at Second Street, there's a chance to do it on the west side. There is some parkway pavement, some width there. Obviously, the issue would be moving streetlights, moving as much as you can move the trees that are there. Then curb cuts, if not a curb cut, removing curb, widening curb, putting the curb into the pavement. It's also a stamped road, so then I assume we'd want to pour the width, the new portion of the road in stamped pavement again. It'll be tough to match. Eventually, I guess in a year or two, if you were to resurface it together, maybe you could make that work. I can certainly start running cost estimates if that's what I didn't go too far into this, not knowing exactly where the
give us
board
a-
wants us to go.
Can you give us not that we're holding you to it, but just off the top of your head, are we talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? What
If
are
we're
we
just talking about Second Street only, width, just on the south side, which I kind of just looked at this morning, top of my head would be $100,000.
Thing about, we talked about Athletico. and Most of the people who are going to Athletico they have temporary setbacks, right? They're not gonna have handicap parking placards, at least the way I'm thinking about it. I think I hear more of the issues over by like Yanni's where people wanna get in or things along that line, but and the Athletico, I understand the concept behind worrying about the handicap parking, but I think most of those people wouldn't, they just had surgery and they're rehabilitating. Almost feel like that probably would hurt them more than help them.
Aren't there handicap placards for temporary, for people who are in wheelchairs and?
I don't know. I'm thinking of the people who go to Athletico, and this is maybe very narrow-minded on my part, but I'm thinking it's more the people who got a knee replacement that they don't get those. And again, if we do it just at second, that's kind of the fear too, like, do we have it?
Is the 100,000, that would be for one spot?
I would think we'd get 2 spots out of that. But again, the 100,000, a lot of it's gonna be that decorative paving. It's not cheap.
We have 2 other physical therapy locations in downtown, so if we do that for Athletico, I guarantee you the other 2 are gonna want the same considerations. So it's not gonna be 1 spot, it's gonna be 3.
We have ADA spots, but again, they're on the other side of the
Right.
road, right? Do we, in our discussions, did we ever talk about putting one on our side when we were designing it off the bat, or no?
Again, no, because it was gonna be the
More
extra
about the
cost
sidewalk.
to either shift the pavement, get rid of parallel parking on the other side of the street, or have to remove the curb on the east side of the street to then widen it so that you could put a 13-foot wide parallel stall in, so.
So the main thing, when we did the Main Street, that was set up mainly for dining, outside dining?
No, for accessibility to get into the building. So many of them had steps, multiple steps in some cases, to get into the building. That's obviously not ADA accessible. So the goal of that project was to get as much ADA accessibility, remove those steps to be able to get into the building. So that's why why the width of the parkway went into the street more so that we could get the grade that we
So
needed to
you're
make
talking about the
those.
steps going into the businesses,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because all those are old buildings that are not necessarily up to ADA standard
Correct.
getting in.
that stuff during COVID, when we put those patios outside there, how wide were those?
Is that before we widen the street?
The deck, the portable decks.
Yeah, that was before we widened the street, and we went out the 12 foot or so based on the width of the parking spots before. So we probably realized maybe 16 would be a lot.
So those were 16 feet off the curb, correct?
Yes.
Give or take?
Yep, that's when we had parallel.
That's when we had the curb.
Yeah.
So even if we bumped out some stalls that we talked about yesterday, we're talking about increasing some of the road, correct?
If we go on Main Street, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the road would have to be behind them on that side, or?
Yeah, or like, we'd have to narrow the drive lanes from 12 feet to 10 feet, if that's what we want to talk about, or shift it over, but yeah, it would,
I'd say the easy answer would be eliminating the parallel parking.
on the east side. Right.
That would be pushing everything over.
Right.
Getting that access for, ADA for unloading and that's fine.
We could certainly do that.
You were the one who brought this up, so you've had some of the communication. Is the issue more the distance for them, or is it more that the parking lots on the east side, and then there's curbs? I'm
It's
just
both.
I was just wondering, what if we had mid-block crosswalks where a wheelchair could go down and back up? Because that's one thing with our design that's kind of poor, like especially when there's snow. And I know you've addressed it with clearing paths for people, but if you had someone who's in a wheelchair, they have to come basically out of the entrance to and from the parking lot instead of having a crosswalk area.
Agreed.
The ADA spots are close to two intersections.
The corners,
There's a
yeah.
void, definitely, like,
Yeah.
Yanni's and everything else, they definitely have to go, you know.
I was just thinking like if we had something that was mid-block, just trying to think outside the box a little bit, that would be cost-effective, and yeah, maybe we give up 2 parking spots, but very rarely is every spot taken on Main Street. Again, it's inexpensive and nothing's perfect, right? But-
Well, I did, the one lady that was here did say that, and I told her to Bruce yesterday, her van is handicapped accessible where the ramp goes out on the sidewalk. So she was even looking like just for an area for, I don't know what you want to do, but a handicap spot where she could park her van and then go over the ramp.
Right, so that's where it does get a little dicey. So if we were to stripe a parallel spot to be ADA accessible, but it doesn't meet the standards, it makes sense for that woman, she has that spot available for her, but then, worst case scenario, somebody goes into that spot, assuming it's to the standard, it's not wide enough, you can think of the worst case.
Off the east side, that's not a bad idea.
The other option I was looking at just this morning, on First Street, there's that drive access. How often does that get used coming back from the alley on the south side? There's almost like a 40-foot driveway access into like like a back parking area. Is that often used? Is that something that can be potentially there?
Yeah, we're right back here, behind us.
The corner, the empty
Yeah.
lot next to the Main Street Pharmacy?
That's a parking lot
I don't hate the idea of, if we're going for 50, if we have the spots already there, and again, I think the big thing is, how do I not have to go a long way around, which I think is a fair complaint, was that looking to get maybe 2 on this first section and the next section, right in the middle. and go
Yeah, I can
across.
certainly look into that, yep.
And we'd lose 4 parking spots, because you'd lose one on the west side, one on the east side, for them to come down and them to come up, but it'd be cheaper than doing the alternate, and just an idea, I don't have the answer.
Are you gonna do that between Division and First then? Because we've got the same, again, another business that's over on Division. And then we
Yeah, I
also have to
think
do
you
it on
kinda-
Oak Street.
Over by Midtown,
Yeah.
like over there, yeah, I mean,
Well, the other thing is, I hate to bring it up, but, if we do all this and spend all the money and then Athletico moves out of town, then, we still have the other 2, but I'm just saying, whatever you do for one, you better be prepared to do it for the other 2.
No, I think we should not even think about that as Atletico now. I think it's just, we're gonna put one right in the middle for both. That way it's not favoring any business. It's just, we want this for Main Street. Not for-
But is it really ADA compliant to be across the street? Aren't you supposed to be as close to the businesses as you can?
Yeah, as feasible. So yeah, there is always a component to it where you can say feasibility doesn't make sense. And again, if it means widening the stall to 13 and having to completely redo a road, you can absolutely go to an ADA accessibility board and say, this just makes no sense to,
Because in Illinois,
one
we've got
spot.
snow, we've got ice, we've got, weather conditions that make it very difficult to go across the street if you're on crutches or a walker.
but most businesses too have to have their own parking too, which, this is all public parking, it's really, our commercial partners benefit from it, but it's,
And those islands that are out there, are those wider than the parking stalls out? Like out here?
the
that's a good question. I
corners,
think so,
the
yeah.
corners are
I believe
bumped
so,
out.
yeah.
They are wide, aren't they?
Well, no, you're saying the jut out, as it juts out into the street, it's pretty equal, like maybe a half a foot more, like the head of the curb is basically all you have.
Out on that corner, you know what I mean?
Well, I thought that. I was hoping that that was actually wider, because then you can just sneak a spot in, and that, we would have our problem solved, but it's not wide enough. It's not 13-foot wide for sure.
Bruce, why don't you maybe look at a couple of options
Mhm.
for us?
For sure.
And maybe just put together some simple, don't spend a lot of time on cost projections, and then at another public works meeting, we can discuss it a little bit further. I don't think we're gonna, solve the problem right now, but maybe come back to us with a couple of what you think would be viable options.
Yeah, I can have some options by the January Public Works meeting, so.
Very good.
Thank you.
Moving on to Leighton Storm.
Couple quick updates, and first one, I have a little bit more, there's still a few final service connections to be made, and restoration of landscaping. We got all dug up, but as the weather kind of gets a little bit, coming here, at least with the timetable, how it all played out, but,
So are they,
things put in.
are they taking advantage of the weather right now, or are they gonna stand still until?
I think they were hoping to get back out next week, Bruce.
Yeah, January, the first week of January, they're supposed to be back out. The services that they have left are the ones that were not close to where the main was. They have to go pretty close to the houses to grab the services, to connect them into the main, so, yeah. Yeah, I believe so, yeah. They're certainly supposed to. I can check with my field guy to confirm, but I assume so.
So other than the final landscaping or sod replacement or whatever in the spring, we might be able to finish this up before spring then?
Yeah, connections should be made before. So yeah, it'll just be the asphalt patching in the road and then sodding in the spring.
All right, Jeffrey Storm project.
It's got an update, yesterday, let's do the numbers, but we're planning on starting mid-January.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the bond and the contract from Tenco as well, so. But yeah, mid-January is what Nick told me as well.
It's gonna be a lot less intrusive for some of the residents.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be primarily all the work we've done
In Heritage.
for the most part, so, kind of prevent connection issues and things of that part.
For Leahy, since this is a new company, how has it been to? Because this is the first time that we've used this company. Would we,
Yeah, there was some early incidents, union-related, to start. So they had to negotiate a deal with the union in order for the union to stop picketing their project. So it sometimes happens, it doesn't always happen, but the job got started later basically because their directional boring subcontractor that they contracted to do it with, they are union, and then as soon as the union members showed up, I don't know if officially a rat was out there or not, but there was a picket line that was set up. As soon as that happens, a union contractor cannot cross that, so they left and said, we can't be here because they're there. So then that's when Allied had to negotiate something with the
okay, I
union.
was just curious because I know this is the first time we used it. Just wanted to see if.
Why is the union involved in it when it's a non-union product?
That's a great question.
I mean, let's be honest.
Agreed.
We know that the guy was sitting here at the thing,
Uh-huh.
and then all of a sudden now, because we're not using a non-union contractor, someone we haven't used in the past, now all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's unacceptable. That is,
It's frustrating, no doubt about it. So, yeah, Allied was basically told, you either have to find a new subcontractor or you need
so
to
he
figure
made
something
a
out.
point to make that job site.
Yes.
He made a point to make that job site
Oh, yeah.
a nightmare for this gentleman because we didn't choose a contractor that he liked.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep. I wish I could say that's the first time that something like that has happened on a non-union contractor.
That's just wrong. Because we don't use a contractor that he wants.
I believe they ended up having to hire one or two union people out of their hall in order to get the union to back off.
That should be noted for future projects. That should be noted for future projects.
That's the unions in Illinois.
Oh, no, it's a union because he's upset that we use someone else.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I think it's the unions.
Okay, well, I know it's someone else. It's unacceptable.
That happens on several projects.
Not like, $100,000 or $400,000 grant project.
Pavilion at the square.
Yep, finally getting some blueprints and conversations and
Jim, do we have signs up around that park for no bikes on the AstroTurf? Can you just double check that? Yesterday I saw that there were some bikes over there, and that'll be a torn piece of turf that, and now we don't have park rangers because it's cold, obviously, but
Starting the project when this spring?
We haven't put it in the new turf yet, have we, that we bought for, no, right?
but the south is the new turf, and that's where the bikes were. and
Correct,
the
no,
kids
no,
were
that's
just
fine,
playing.
yeah,
They
no, no,
weren't
I
doing
just
anything
didn't know if
bad,
we
but-
put the turf into, is that spring project too gonna include, or when are we gonna remove the fences too on those sides?
And
Is
the
that, that's gonna be part of it, right? Okay.
And the sidewalk.
What was here on that roof? You were talking,
Yeah, I did talk to the salesman, he never sent me anything paperwork-wise, but at the back and forth with the metal roof, he ended up throwing that in for free, so.
Well, that's good.
Kind of wanted paperwork because I didn't want to throw around any info that I didn't have backup information on, but when it was all said and done, he said, yeah, they're covering it.
we get something in writing?
That's what I've been asking for, but holiday stuff and the guy doesn't
Sure.
go in the office or what, but yeah, he was pretty grateful that we've been working with this company for over 30 years, I guess, by the time New Toys, they supplied all our playgrounds in the past, so, and the building in Peace and this building.
So that's gonna save us $10,000?
Also, who's giving the metal roof?
Yeah, you threw that in.
Don't
Again,
put
we
that
have-
in the minutes yet, though, until he
Yeah.
gets it in writing, because that's why he hadn't said anything,
Don't fund that.
because
And I've asked like 6 times. I've texted, emailed, phone call. Yeah, okay, I'll get it over to you. I'm like, okay, well, just to be clear,
Oh,
so
we send a letter.
I've asked. Yeah, so I've all forms of communication I've
All right.
sent, so.
So Jim, based on current schedules that you have, theoretically, when would you be able to take that project?
Well, I've got a blueprint. It's pretty close for foundation work and everything else, so I would say let's get through at least January, and we should be able to start that late January, February, at least get the excavation going and get the utilities going. I would say let's get through, probably January into February, probably, end of January. Well, if we get the time to do it. If I got the print to do it, that would be the goal, at least to get,
I was hoping you would say March.
well, let's go weather permitted, so.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic on things.
Jim, you should start today.
Yeah, I would, so, yeah, I know, it's a good day, but good day to start.
Landscape RFP discussion?
Yeah, it's first page in the handout. We only had one bid, and it was 3/4 of the bid. So I would probably want the board's approval to go out for a rebid on this. I don't know if we just caught contractors in between a lot of other jobs, getting ready for winter or whatever, but
Who did you send it to? Did anybody respond?
I had 4 responses total. So I met up with 3 contractors, Chris met up with 1, and we got 1 bid. And that was part of the requirement, is to actually have a walkthrough with the village here to make sure that they know all the locations, because it's, a lot. It's all over the place, so.
Jim and I talked about this a little bit too, that I think asking them to design it as well as provide the installation of everything, maybe kicks some of those guys out. They just don't want to be bothered, maybe design is not their thing. So if we spent the money to get a design, I think you'd get more bids on the actual installation, but just design and bid, I think that's why we ended up with only 1, and it seems to be pretty high.
Yeah.
But
I do know Brad, Scenic Landscaping, is interested. He was unaware of it. He doesn't check the website, and he was just unaware of it, so I brought it to his attention, and he definitely wants to bid on it.
We put it on the website, we put it in the ad on the paper, but like, if you don't, there's some companies that have, they pay for these companies to keep an eye out for bids.
Yeah.
Governmental bids, and that's what they pick up on, so a couple of contractors got into it, but not everybody. So yeah, I would say put it out for late next month, and that way, we can at least give some more opportunity for a couple other contractors to take a peek at it. And yeah, little pricey for sure.
And do we really need to take everything out and put in all brand new? I mean, what's,
I kind of left that up to the contractor, say, hey, you know, use your greatest imagination for, you know, cost of, you know, make sure that the cost is worth it and that we're getting a little update. You know, there's a lot of, I think they're the U's and stuff that are a little dated. I think you don't see those being used in a lot of landscaping designs currently, and yeah,
you know, we have a landscaper in town, Sam Martin. He might be willing to just look at it and give us some great ideas.
Yeah.
Without even charging us.
He's bid, or his company has bid on stuff before. I was gonna ask, did he bid?
Is that Davidson?
What's that?
Is that called Davidson?
Clarence Davidson.
I mean, if anybody's not opposed to it, I mean, I don't care, but I mean, I have the same program that people have. So I mean, I could put something together. If everybody likes it, then you can use that as kind of.
I think Jim and I are thinking that same way, that obviously giving them a design, you're gonna get a more definite bid than, you know, them
Well, I mean,
asking them to
just,
do it.
For
so.
example, like just overlooking the one for the village hall, I mean, $33,625. If I got that job, I would hurry up and run, get that job done today.
Sure.
Because I would be tickled pink because I could do that job and the other one at the same day.
Right.
But I mean, if not, anybody's opposed to that, I can put together. You know what I'm saying, the same 3D designs that are out.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we've relied on Sam in the past, so if you know, having that expertise on the board helps.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, then we can have an idea what the budget number would be, like if I was to use that one.
you want, maybe take a walk through and hit all the spots,
Sure.
whenever you get a chance, you let me know.
All right, that's the items on the agenda. Everybody got anything?
I have something. I was contacted by Clark Goranson, who's one of the top athletes at Manteno High School. And she wondered why in 2023 and 2024, I guess it was the state team that won,
Well, middle school track won girls' state in 23 and 24.
and we did not make signs. So I wasn't part of the board then, so I don't know how that
I
slipped through
brought
the
that up at
cracks.
one point, and I can't remember what we said about that.
Is there anything we can still do at this point? And why did we overlook those teams?
I think that, and again, I'm going off of recollection, the signs that, like going on Route 50 and 45, you're talking about that, I think they have to be high school. I don't think middle school.
No, because we had a
Isn't
middle
that
school
IHSA?
softball team, I thought, up there at one point, didn't we? Because middle school softball team, my sister won that, and I thought they put a sign up for that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think we had a base, I think we still have a maybe 9, 10-year-old.
That's Gavin's.
And that was, what was that? That was not even, that was like,
That was
yes.
Little League.
Little League.
Little League. So I don't know if there's a difference. I don't think we made those signs. I think the state made those signs, or one of the two.
I think so.
So
I was just wondering, maybe it's township, that's why it's not even us, because it's outside of where our boundary ends are with.
I know we talked about like doing stuff like with that Wall of Champions
Correct.
for Manteno that, you know, would be a place where all of them would get recognized. Because I've had similar situations where someone's won the 4-H and they wanted a sign too, and I think we just, and for some reason I thought the elementary school stuff was the state regulations that we couldn't put them on there, but nonetheless, I mean, where do we put all the signs? I mean, we're blessed
Well,
to
that's
have, we're blessed
correct,
to have
and that's
good
where I'm wondering,
athletics, right?
I think people, they rotate them, right? I mean, once, I hate to say they age out, but they do age out, like, we have other state champions, so like, we could, I guess, age them out, but.
I think
Because I brought that up a year ago when they won their second one, I said, why haven't we done this? And it was a question of, we were then thinking about that park idea, and
Because Watkins got a
Watkins won state
in for wrestling.
for high
and
school,
we don't
yeah, so
I don't
that's-
think we have any signs for him
Correct.
anywhere.
yeah.
That's where, you know, we had talked about the Wall of Champions thing, and we had even talked about it here at the Square on Second in the past, but
I mean, we could do something like that. I don't know how much it would cost to get the signs, but then every 10 years, replace them with the new state champions. If we, you know what I mean? I hate to say that we're going to win a state championship every 10 years, but we have had the last 3 decades, so.
we've had pretty, I mean, fortunately, we've had some good athletics.
Correct. And I hate to say it, but hopefully Clark goes and wins the state championship too in track. Like, I mean, that's a realistic possibility too.
Well, and then making the rules of show choir versus volleyball, basketball, track.
What can we do? What can we do to make this right?
I know. I mean, every town has them. It's cool to show it off.
It is.
And it's important to the athletes.
I'm 110% in favor of it.
I wouldn't
But
mind
how do we do it? And that's why I've always liked that idea, and.
I wouldn't mind
wasn't
putting
my
it in a
idea, but-
square or something with that.
I thought we were talking about doing that at the.
Or Walton
Yeah,
Payton.
we are, but we haven't heard.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Your Walter Payton said something about.
Well, we talked about putting, I had an idea I had for the hill out there, but I think the athletes, and they want to be recognized in a more central location, because that would be on the outskirts of town per se, but.
Can we give that some more thought and bring this up at another meeting and see if there's something we can do?
Yeah, we can, I think we could look
Rectify this.
somewhere, maybe
Yeah,
on
we'll
the
put it
square
on
or
a
something, or,
park- Put it on our next park committee meeting,
Yeah.
talk about it in
Okay.
January.
yeah, or on the pavilion, or
Somewhere in,
What was that?
the signs, or on the fence. I don't know where the best way to do it.
Well, yeah.
Let's
I think-
talk about it and
yeah.
bring it up at the next parks
Yeah.
meeting.
All right.
Thank you.
I have one item that, going back to Public Works, Jim, I had sent you some information on that spray system. I'd like you to look into see what the cost of that.
Okay.
What it is, it's I don't know if it's more or less a portable system, but it's a spraying system that the trucks would drive through after they're done plowing and salting. That gets the salt, and snow off of the trucks. Helps with longevity, lifespan of the equipment.
Yeah,
So it's almost like a little portable
car wash, yep.
It's set up at the village.
don't we have that area ready?
Yeah, don't we have a
In
walkway
the-
there?
It's
Doesn't
got,
get
it's got
underneath it.
jets that shoot up from underneath. I mean, currently we have, I got a device that the guys hook up to a power washer, and it's like an upside down, like you got the ones that wash the floor, we got one that spins up, so they go underneath and they do that, but,
What have we been using? Is that what we've been using all along?
yeah. Check that out.
You can look into that.
Do you have the hot water one, Jim,
We do.
like a hot water power washer,
Yep, a
big
hot seat.
thing? Yeah.
I also wanted to comment about the paper that you left on our desks here about the blessing box at the food pantry.
Yes,
That looks really nice.
That does look good.
yeah, we just,
I didn't know.
That's open, right? That's ready to go for those that want to donate.
Brian Prince, one of the crew, and I think another guy or two helped paint it, but yeah, he built that up from last week, and they installed it yesterday, so.
Who built
It's
it?
great.
Brian Prince,
Oh, good.
Very nice. I
It
didn't
looks
know that,
great.
so-
very talented.
So is Rich Van Pelt gonna keep that filled, or
No, Rich Van Pelt did not know he was keeping that filled, so I don't know if that's
So-
conversation.
Doesn't the community fill those?
so is it gonna be open for the community members to go and put things into it?
It's open,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, then maybe we should put something in the paper or let people know about it.
So what's the?
We can post something on our Facebook, at least, push it
Yeah.
out there.
Good idea.
Both.
Yes,
Yeah.
both.
It's kind of like the books things we have around town too, where like you take a book, drop a book, but this is like for food. But like if you need food, go get food there. There's I think we have like 3 spots we said already, but that's another one more central.
Actually, has been charging the Facebook to post that.
Hey, Jacob Knox, I can send him
Jacob,
an
yeah.
email.
Chris, could we talk to Jacob about having something posted?
Yeah.
Non-perishable food.
Jim, did you have something too?
That was it.
Oh, perfect.
I have a question. How's the update on the truck?
For regular, I haven't heard anything, but last time I checked, it was 3 months, so I would say January, February, but I'll double check.
Anything else?
One comment, and I just said something to you, Todd, as we're looking at it, but if, just something for you guys to take a look at when you drive past or leave here, if we end up doing the sale of these properties, take a look at, on Route 50, there's a parcel Express Contracting has that maybe we should consider taking the funds from selling of those buildings to maybe purchase that and help start renovating Route 50. Just take a look drive past it and take a look at that property, see what you guys think.
Which one is it?
Express Contracting, it's
Contracting.
what, 2 or 3 buildings down from the Village
The
Hall?
electrical, is it close to the electrical place?
It's in between the electrical place and Village Hall. There's Village Hall, the food pantry, then there's a house, an empty lot, and then Express Contracting. There's a sign out front. Just
Okay.
take a look at it and just think about if it's something that we want to consider maybe doing like what we did with O'Reilly's, where to get that piece of property renovated and better, it might be wise of us to look at.
When I was on the board in 2013, we talked about this, about any properties that came up for sale on Route 50, that we should consider purchasing them, so that when the one next door to it came up for sale, we would have a much larger lot that a business would be interested in coming in.
And that was kind of the thought process I had about the renovation on Route 50 and trying to, because there is a vacant lot next door to it, but there's other stuff that just, if you drive past it, you guys make your own judgments and then we can discuss. And again, not looking at spending money that we don't have.
No.
I'm looking at if we could take a piece of property that's down Oak Street that no one's gonna drive past anyways, and we could sell that and use those funds to help beautify or renovate, it might make some sense for us.
Well, it's not that we want to go into the real estate business, but we want to attract
Well,
businesses to our main
And sometimes
corridor.
it takes us a little bit of village help. I mean, O'Reilly's wouldn't be there, wouldn't look like that. I mean, that building was falling apart, and if we didn't get involved with that, that would have never happened, right?
It was the
most-
old Don's, wasn't it?
A lot of those lots are so small, they aren't big enough to be attractive to a new business. But if
Right.
we ended up with 2 of them next to each other, it might be something really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gentleman out of Frankfurt, I think, actually. I just sent him a letter because he's got some bricks falling off the front of his building, so I'm still waiting to hear from him.
I see people going in and out of there all the time. Like, is he using it for storage or?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's using it for. I know he just purchased it, I think it was in October, of, just a couple months ago.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
So moved.
Who first? Who first? I can't hear the train.
I'll do first.
Okay.
I'll second.
Aye. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, very good.
Merry Christmas.
I'm really happy to hear about